Good morning and welcome to today's live show. Remember that course is only that's one of the dogs. Only going to be $100 for the next until Sunday. So get that over the weekend. Dedicate yourself to some learning. But today we got some stock market analysis to do. Just charging my mouse for a little bit this morning, so we might move around just a little bit slower. Let me get 1 second to get this started. Just lining some stuff up. All right, so for today, we got to pay attention to our daily expected moves. I'm going to wait for my mouse to charge just a little bit here, but we have 548.60 to the downside. I think that's what you overall want to happen in order to see this to at least remain a little bit healthy. Some kind of pullback now would be okay. If you start to head even higher, I mean, the Qs are more so looking like they're getting too excited, but they are breaking through resistance. Now they're heading to the upside again towards an annual expected move and the daily expected move just a little bit higher there. So if you wanted the levels for the Qs, that'd be 494.91 to the upside. We do have 487.17 to the downside. So this area right here makes a lot of sense to end up in by the end of the day. But as of right now, we're still turning up. So everything is turned up. Nothing has crossed over just yet. But note that unemployment is ticking up again. So it went from 3.9. Now it's at 4. Now it's at 4.1. All right. 3.9 to 4 to 4.1. You see how it's gradually turning up, and then eventually something will most likely break in the system. As during the FOMC minutes, we held rates the same, which they say to you, right? We're holding the rates the same. In history, they hold the rates the same, and then something bad happens, and they have to cut dramatically. We're going to hold rates the same, but we don't see that happening. It's different this time. It's transitory. It's blah, blah, blah. So I think we're kind of on edge here. I think we still have the opportunity, if we back off soon, to go higher by the end of the year, actually. But other than that, I would say more so worried that we're going to see some kind of significant drop soon. So we'll pay attention, mainly paying attention to the AMC GME thing, because that can get into derivatives. They can really shake up the market. So how was everyone's 4th of July? Was everyone having a good time? We're live. Everyone having a good time out there? Look at that, hitting the annual expected move. Let's go look at some crazy stuff. I know Tesla's on the move again. Tesla's on the move again. Look at that, 250 now. And this is where I was kind of like, in the past, they tried to short sell the crap out of Tesla as well. So I'm interested to see, if this is going to be another one that's also seeing this because of the short seller problem. Or if this move is just legit. Which as of right now, it looks pretty good. Nvidia, what are you doing? Well, you're kind of hesitating early on in the morning. What are we doing on Amazon? Well, we could see one more pop up. I think that makes sense. But remember, Amazon had this 2-hour divergence, and I think it is something to read into at this point. All right, let me go look at AMD seeing a solid move. There you go. So daily momentum taking over just a little bit there. And AMC, look at that. Up a little bit. Didn't cross over on this 2-hour just yet, which means we are still in business, which means we're still possibly even in the moment. Let's see here. 2 hours still crossed up here. So 30 minutes going to be very important here. Seeing if this is able to turn back up. That'd be a good sign for GameStop. But notice that we did not get anywhere near 27.66. So if we're nowhere near something unexpected, then that's probably not the best sign. AVGO, I know this is what Nancy Pelosi just doubled down on pretty much. So, I mean, the time for this was the double bottom rejection divergence right here. That would be a good setup overall. And then you just wanted to see what that 2-hour looked like. Hey, curled up, went positive, never came back down. It's pretty much a classic swing trade right here for a 2-hour. Could have even been a classic one for the 4-hour recently, right? So we've had 2 turn-ups now. This bar right here confirming more upside. So it looks likely to make a 4-hour divergence. Might take some time. 4 hours takes some time. Is the daily able to turn up? You just notice that we're going to get a brief moment. If we get up here, we're going to get that moment where it's like, okay, is that divergence? Are we going to roll over? Maybe we need to pull back a little bit further in order to head higher. That's overall what I would say about AVGO. But you'd have to say, crossing up positive territory, that is a good sign for upward momentum. I'm just saying, watch out for some kind of thing up here that actually gives you divergence both ways. Okay, give me 2 seconds real quick. I'm gonna go get a cup of coffee. I'll be right back. And we're back. Don't worry, we're back. Dollar really dropping off, and I think that's because a lot of countries actually unloading the dollar. I mean, Japan could be unloading all of our bonds and stuff too. A little tired, nothing too crazy. Just a lot of work on the 4th of July now, you know. When you got a baby girl, it's a whole different kind of work. Okay, now AMC flashing over to negative here. Okay, so let's see if that 2-hour is able to cross over. So the 2-hour crossing over tells us, hey, maybe this is not the moment, right? That's what this is overall saying right here. Go into this stuff real quick. So as this curls over, we have to notice how this is most likely going to be an overall 2-hour pullback as of right now. So we'll see if things change by the end of the day. But as of right now, AMC saying, hey, I'm going to pull back on the 2-hour scale. That's what that is saying right in front of you there, according to the momentum. And then if we go over to GME, hasn't curled over yet, but now we're probably going to see a 30-minute curl over and get this to be some sort of pullback. We'll look into this throughout the day, but overall, that's what you see going on there. Tesla is starting to pull back down. This just overall needs a better pullback, but we'll see what happens with that from here on out. Netflix breaking up a little bit. Google breaking to the upside, breaking out of that expected move. Microsoft breaking out of it as well. A lot of things breaking out. There you go. Now we set up the little 2-hour triple divergence for Meta going on up here, possibly. Make a move up. Oh god. Well, god dang it. This thing, it always like doesn't adjust correctly. It's like every other day, it just doesn't adjust correctly. Yeah, so this is where you would want to bounce from, and I believe this is where overall, we're talking about, hey, watch out for a head and shoulders a little bit here, right? Curl up and then reject back down. So as of right now, that divergence holding strong. That daily turns up. I think you maybe get like a 2-hour turn up, and then we'll see if that's able to actually cross up on this daily MACD. But for now, I think the most likely scenario is you go grab some liquidity and then you turn right back down. We'll see, right? Because if this starts to curl up, hey, that means we're most likely going to see this high maybe tested. Oh yeah, and you wanted to let's look at the dollar first. Dollar's still breaking down, curling down on the daily MACD. So that's what's going on with the dollar right now. And what do we want to look for, really? We just want to look for any time this thing can curl back up, because you notice it was pretty strong for a while, backed off now. It backed off now, and we're seeing a major move higher, which is kind of crazy to me. Kind of crazy to me that at all-time highs, we see the dollar drop off and we go higher. Kind of crazy to me. Now we're running into that weekly expected move very early on in the morning here. We'll pay attention to it. Right now, the most likely scenario for the stock market is, I think we do see some kind of 30-minute pullback. If not, I mean, I don't know. That seems kind of tricky out there. And we know that unemployment is ticking up. Important to know. It's going down, 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 down. Tesla now down 1%. Like I said, this is still a very bullish move. You see how far away we are from going negative. So this trend is very, very positive. You're just looking for a solid pullback. Solid pullback, curls back up. Awesome. We're in business. 252. What else is making a big upward move? Amazon. Amazon's daily and weekly expected move up here towards that 201, pretty much towards this area right here. There's a little box right here. So Amazon looks good for now. But you have to see if that creates a divergence. If that creates a divergence right here, well, that weekly expected move is right here, guys. So Amazon might be giving an opportunity if this 30-minute can curl up, curl back down. That'd be a solid look. AMD. Yeah, pretty much went up to the expected move. Yeah, pretty much went up to the daily expected move at this point. Trying to reach up towards, you know, this one right here, towards that weekly expected move, but right now a daily expected move proving us some sort of resistance right now, right when we hit that level, starts to back off. What's another one? I think it was Meta was a pretty good upward move, and it is now hitting, that's where the daily expected move is. So The weekly expected move tells you could head a little bit higher here, but the daily is saying that's all that's expected for Meta for the entire day. Oil's been looking pretty good, actually. Like, these little 4 hours just keep turning up, turning up, turning up. So that target up there, 84.17, previous support that we were trying to get here, now maybe turns into some resistance soon. So got a bunch of divergences across this, which kind of is funny because, like, if we look at this, we go to, I don't think we want to go to 2020, right? We want to go to like, maybe it was 2020. Okay, so you see 2020, look at the crash, deflationary event, right? Look at that, oil crashed. So oil building up like this, kind of coiling still like this, where you guys see the little head and shoulders almost. Now we're seeing this bounce up. With all these 4-hour divergences, you have to be aware that still things like oil can crash in an overall deflationary event. Deflationary event would be recession and things like that. So that's why in 2020 we went into an immediate higher unemployment and recession, right? And notice what happened with oil, it really backed off. Crash. So you'd have to say if something bad's coming around the corner, well, this daily has to go negative. Right now it looks pretty good, right? Nothing really to scare you out of this, but once you start to look at the 4-hour, you're going, oh, there's like a divergence point all the way across all of this move. So if this is given up soon, you could see some kind of flash thing down from oil. But as of right now, you have to say, hey, positive territory, right? So that's how I would just keep that in my mind. Like, hey, oil does turn down during an actual recession, during a deflationary event. Gold going higher now. See, this is what I'm talking about too. Like, this is the trade setup I gave right over here. And then we saw this random dip down, and I was like, that just doesn't even make sense. And then it just goes right back up. It's been really ripping people around, but ended up playing out. Spies Weekly is, I'm pretty sure it's at it right now. Yeah, it's at it right now. 552.42. Apple, shake my head. It's propped up by a bunch of things, not just Apple, but Apple, Amazon, AMD. Remember, it's what I said. If you guys paid attention to on Sunday's video, I think it was Sunday's video, I said I'm probably going to see 2 stocks head down, 4 stocks hold the market up. 4 stocks head down, 2 stocks hold the market up. I think that's what's overall going on here. And it seems to be happening. So that was kind of what I figured would happen this week. There you go, starting to sell off just a little bit there. What you want to see is if these are starting to turn back up. No way, oh my goodness. I've been sneezing a lot, my goodness. Because that's how they keep the game going without like really fudging with things. They're like, let's just see who we can trick on Tesla and Apple today. Who can we trick on Nvidia and AMD today? Who can we trick? It's just who can we trick today? And that's why the individual names are the opportunity. Palantir, solid little move there. I think it was a day. No. It's a 2-hour scale. 2-hour scale is what I'm still looking at here, getting closer to that center line. Double top looks kind of sort of like it could happen today, right? So we're looking at this here. We need that thing to curl over, kind of confirm some downside. My nose just squeaked in my head. That was weird. I wonder if it squeaked out loud. It's still squeaking. And then once again, the yields, this is how you know things aren't really behaving normally. The yields are backing off and IWM's not liking it, right? IWM should like it. Okay, we're starting to see a 2-hour not crossed yet for AMC. Good sign, but we need this 30-minute to turn up by the end of the day. I think that's probably one of the most important things. This cat is a rude dude. Big Dog's like, this friggin' cat, man. Uh, no, the best thing to do, like, is kind of be how I've been, I think, for the past few weeks. At first, I was really watching what Roy and Kitty was doing all the time, and then I just started being like, oh, what if I just, like, don't do that and just think about the problem, think about the momentum of it, and then just move forward? That's kind of how I'm looking into it now. Let's go look at cost, too. Let's go look at cost real quick. I'm selling the oil, I'm shorting the oil. Yeah, it's just a rapid move up. If anything, you get like a daily pullback there. It's what it looks like. Now, you never know. Stuff can happen around geopolitically that could cause some big shakeups, some breakthroughs. But you're at a point where backing off makes the most sense. And like I said, in some kind of crash, just note that oil does crash down in a deflationary type crash. Yeah, just remember it's kind of tight on that 30-minute because US oil kind of trades all around. So more so look for it on the 2 hour, but it looks like you're looking for it on the 2 hour. So I like that. I feel like I was doing something 2 seconds ago. I was literally doing something 2 seconds ago and I just forgot. Freaking ADHD brain. Oh, that's what I wanted to look at with you guys. Did you guys see Bitcoin? Look at these moves. Look at these moves down. Like that is crazy to see this down. And a lot of the time, Bitcoin does lead the overall market. So this is a big move down. Almost went down into our first zone. I think you still probably end up there, but that is some big downward price action. Can't really say we're flagging anymore or anything like that. We kind of failed that one. We tried to make the head and shoulders. We failed that. Now we're dropping down, going way negative. So any bounce back, just know negativity is the most likely scenario. Even if we bounce up, if we just curl over, downside is the most likely scenario. But I thought Bitcoin was interesting to see. Then, pretty sure I saw Biden over the weekend say that he was the first black vice president or something. Oh, the world we live in. I was like, I hope this was made by AI. I hope this was made by AI. That's all I was thinking. Mara really not liking all that Bitcoin stuff. Look at that. And that's a double top as well. So if that turns over, that's not good. But pretty cool that we hit our little zone for Mara, and then we sell off immediately. Like we kept saying, this zone looks likely to get to. Hey, it took a long time. It took a lot of different pullbacks to get there, and then it gets there and it just drops off immediately. Oil just flashing red here now. So this is really starting to look weak here. It looks like oil could head down over the next month or so. Unless we see something crazy, we see crazy stuff all the time. You still have a daily that is positive. So more so, this is looking like you're going to get some kind of pull back. Maybe just back down into the 20 and then see that thing reverse back around. Just because you notice back here, what do we ride most of the time? Most of the time, it's the 20. Okay, so you'll see these touches down to the 20 a couple times. And then we just keep riding up. So I would say a pullback to the 20 would make sense if we want to break through that level. Alrighty. Let's go back over to the SPY. Look how things are shaping up over here. Now we have divergence points for the SPY and the Qs as well. So any kind of weakness here could be a little weaker than normal. We're just really not wanting to break through that weekly. Meanwhile, the Qs are just like, yeah, let's go. Nvidia, it's backing off, but oh god, and now Nvidia's stalling. That's so funny. It looked like Nvidia was going to be bullish, like AMD. AMD was pretty bullish. Meta, that's a really quick move for Meta and Microsoft and Google. Netflix tried, failed. I think you're about to see some stuff flip around because this doesn't, some doesn't feel right. Oh, some doesn't feel right. But just because it doesn't feel right, sometimes you buy when it feels wrong, you know? But I'm not going to expose myself. I'm not going to expose myself to any risk because the risk is downside over the next few months. So I still have to have this mentality for another few months, which kind of sucks, but I just really minimized my risk. And then the one trade that I took didn't go with me. So I'm like, all right, let's just really reload for the week, take it as a bad week, and just be like, okay, let's just really think about it. Let's really find the setup that's pretty perfect. I'm really liking Amazon right now. I'm really liking this one. Little 15-minute curl down for that steep divergence there. I think that would be nice. 30-minute, if I could get it on the 30-minute, then I'd feel real confident with it. Got the 2-hour divergence behind it as well. So really like the look of that one. As far as taking a position goes, one of the ones I was looking at originally was Google, but now that big move up, you notice all the pullback you get here is that little cup and handle. Maybe Microsoft on a 2-hour is looking pretty good here. If that 2-hour can rotate over at any time, if I can see some weakness in this overall move right now, see some kind of weakness there, I can take a chance with it. But right now, looks like you're trying to almost double bottom out, make that W and head higher. That's what it looks like to me at this moment. Is Amazon considered a cup and handle? Well, let's really look at Amazon because yes, well, you'd have to see if this overall push right here came above the 50% line. So, guess you would see. Yeah, so it hit above 50 here. So you'd really want that to, you know, not necessarily have to spike back down. But I think I would still consider this cup and handle, see if that's able to break through, get a little bit going on here. That makes sense. But it's just you have a bunch of little divergences here. So really what all I'm looking out for, whether this cup and handle fully plays out or not, I'm still looking for the downward play just to see if I can catch that moment when there's some kind of bigger drop. Just because the risk to the upside, well, your reward to the upside a little bit limited, and I think your risk to the downside is a little bit bigger. So I'm looking for a stock to really just take like a 2-month play. Good morning. Yeah, Meta's just ripping. And so this one here is what I'm paying attention to. Well, you probably could even go into an hourly, actually. Yeah, you see the hourly. If this proves as some kind of divergence, because it's not really, like this seems too excited too fat. Look how overbought you're getting already. If that just wants to turn down from here, that could be a sign of weakness. Because we didn't go create this little right shoulder. So we're breaking the upside. You're seeing that kind of that momentum that would have been to the downside pick up to the upside as you go positive. Very good sign. Seeing that break higher. Everything is bullish about this. Nothing is bearish about this right now, just so you're clear. Like 2-hour turning back over would be a little bit bearish, right? That'd be a contrarian bear signal again. And then you're right next to the center line. That's why I'm paying attention to it a little bit too. Mickey D's. Ooh. I think McDonald's is like the daily side, right? Yeah, daily divergence for McDonald's. Interesting. I'd like to see some kind of reversal thing here. Yeah, it looks like 4 hours got the solid look for divergences, but I like my 2-hour, and if that thing doesn't have divergence, I'm not necessarily thinking this is the best thing in the world. I think you could keep compiling up, kind of get very, very tight in this overall move. We'll see what happens from there, but McDonald's really been suffering. Daily, if that thing turns up, hey, a good move can be there. AMD, I think, crossed up on the daily a few days ago. So it was actually this bar right here told us, hey, yeah, going to the upside. And then there it goes, it continues. Now it's going to run into its first form of resistance there. But if you can keep compiling up in this area, you've built up a ton of liquidity in here. Look at all these wonky bars. You built up a ton of liquidity here. So a big move can be in store for AMD. Right now it's saying that move is to the upside. We'll see if that starts to change. There are pullbacks. There are all kinds of things like that. The 30-minute probably needs to pull back at some point. It just keeps touching overbought every single time. It's running into a daily expected move. Some kind of pullback, maybe even down to 160.83 would be nice. Or just sideways price action. Snowflake. This one here had the 2-hour divergences. You see them down there on your MACD, and boom, we head up into pretty much the first little sell zone here. Okay, this is the area where you would retest for now. Then you got to see if you're able to hold up. So as of right now, I think the most likely scenario, hey, I think a 2-hour pullback looks likely here, even if it's just sideways for a long time, and then that thing curls up, goes positive, that'd be a good sign to actually break out of this zone. As of right now, we got to treat this zone as resistance as we're going up into it. So we'll see what happens from here. If that curls down, it's far away from the center line though. So it's far away from the center line, which tells me, hey, yeah, there's a good likelihood for that to turn back up. And this is just a pullback, right? But if that would, you know, cross that center line and keep going, ooh, then it starts to get ugly once you get out of this zone. Tal Sosnov, thank you so much for joining today. Really appreciate it. So this one here, let's look 30 minutes. See 30 minute making all these divergences. So there is a chance. I think we have broken to the upside after kind of going sideways for some time. I think you do have a little bit of room left here. And then you want to watch out for this type of look, because that type of look is where you see that pullback. That's where you really start to see it. What is this? Solid pullback. It looks like a 2-hour pullback. Yeah, it's a 2-hour pullback. Okay. So do you notice what happened the last time we did this like 2-hour pullback down to the center line? Well, you're getting that moment again, and you're getting these closing bars above. So the most likely scenario from here with these 3 bars right here is that this is going to cross and we're going to see an upside move. That is the most likely scenario. It doesn't mean you can't just flip over right now. Okay, there's always a percentage chance of that thing just rolling over right now. It's just most of the percentages as you close above all the moving averages again are that this is going to cross as the RSI is above the center line, and then you create some kind of divergence up here. I think that's where you would see an overall bigger pullback on maybe a daily scale. So looking at the daily scale here, see how it's been going up and up and up for some time. Pretty much the charts are saying, hey, there's one more upward move. But that can change really quickly. God, I'm just sneezing like crazy. That can change really quickly. That's why you just got to manage the risk, right? So 2-hour, you know, if you're saying, hey, I want to swing trade this, and you're doing it before the MACD crosses or something like that, hey, then it's going to see maybe an upward move. I just got to pay attention to my risk, which is if the 30-minute pulls back, then look at that, it's going to be negative. So I don't necessarily want to be in this. If that 30-minute curls back over, I would say, okay, let me manage my risk. Maybe I see a 30-minute divergence, and then I take the play again. Someone mentioned Sofi real quick. I want to go look at that. Like a 2-hour maybe. I mean, if you curl up, that's a good sign. But you're below that 200, not looking too pretty. Daily scale here, not the best looking divergences in the world, right? So, and you're kind of moving sideways, which tells me we could see another drop at any time. 4-hour kind of curling down would be your next sign that you're going to see another drop. And if you break through this level, you kind of need to hold up here, because if you break through this level, you could head into pretty much any of these clumps of this right here. You see this clump right here, this clump down here, clump down in here. This is kind of the area where you would head to. And that's kind of a big range, but it's pretty much from like $4 to what, $6? So you're looking at 46 cents down before you possibly see another bounce. Oh yeah, cost, that's what we're gonna look at too. Cost is another one just booming to the upside. This is tied into the GME AMC thing. They're pretty much in the same basket. So this was very, very cool because the daily showed you 2 days in advance, hey, we're crossing up above the 200, above all the moving averages, and boom, 2 days later, you see a massive, massive move. So what I'd be looking for here is, remember that in big moments, the 30-minute never crosses back over. So if this is gonna give you another opportunity, that 30-minute might cross down and cross back up, that would be great. But as of right now, you know, when these problems come to light, usually the 30 minutes can't even cross back over. That's why I'm paying attention closely to AMC and GME on the 30-minute, because if GME doesn't cross over on this 30-minute, then it says, hey, this could still be it. I'm going positive, right? But AMC, I think you need to turn up. And then if you turn up, I think that daily is going to cross. Dollar going up. Dollar starting to tick up just a little bit, and the volatility still remaining higher. VVIX a little bit higher, but volatility remaining higher. TLT seeing some kind of bounce. The Dow not liking things today, starting to drop down. XLU just reversed over as well, so we'll watch the SPY just for a brief moment here. Drink my smoothie and my coffee. But cost is pretty much like it's experiencing the moment, like a little bit. So you would say, you know, how high can that go? Shit, man, nobody knows. You know what I mean? Nobody freaking knows. But right now, it's like if you follow the daily signals, which is what we're waiting for with AMC and GME, really. Just waiting for those moments where the daily actually gives us that momentum, because that's all cost had, was a daily crossed up, and then you go, oh, okay, there could be something good happening. That's what you would say. There's a probability of something good happening. So if this is able to cross up today, that would be a good sign that something good can happen. GME, if that could cross up, that'd be a good sign that something good could happen. It looks like if you're down at this area, and you're like, say, a betting man, if you're down in this area and you're a betting man, you say, well, if it's going to happen, it needs to, after this pullback, cross up into positive territory. Look where it is. It's right at the center line. So if you wanted ever pretty much to actually have the odds of a 50-50 shot going into a week or two from now, it's actually right now. This is pretty much your 50-50 shot. So this is a 50-50 flip here. Pour some mayonnaise on it, some Japanese mayo on that thing, maybe get it going. But for now, if that daily confirms up in any way, you could see a big upward move. Same thing goes for AMC. So we want to pay attention to the shorter time frames, because this here is looking like it really wants to cross. So pretty much 50-50 shot there too. Maybe a little bit better because it's a little further away from the center line. So we want to see this 30-minute curl back up by the end of the day. If that can happen, then a big move can happen by Monday next week. So paying attention to it, don't want to read into it too much, just want to look at the momentum and see how it looks. If this 30-minute crosses up and remains crossed up by the end of the day, awesome. That daily is probably going to cross up and you'll have daily momentum with you. That's the main thing we want to look at. When will this BS end? Well, it'll end once the most amount of retail can feel some pain. Ooh, Macy's. Macy's turning up on a 2-hour here. Not the best divergence in the world. There's some divergence on the daily scale too. Kind of been piled up in this area for some time. I mean, a swing trader would really believe in this still right here with divergence. Very, very good look there. You actually have that divergence all the way from this point over here. You have it all the way across. So a lot of divergences. If that goes positive, that'd be a good sign. Looks like Macy's catching a bid for a second. We'll see if that proves to be anything. Your indicator right now is telling you a bullish contrarian with divergence, which is good. Yeah, it is. And it's frustrating. I get the sentiment there. It's frustrating in these markets. I've been in them before, right? So these kind of remind me of, weirdly enough, they remind me of bear market rallies where it just makes no sense and things head higher. and like a couple things drop off. It kind of reminds me of a bear market rally. There was a bear market rally where like Apple carried the entire stock market higher. Are we going full red this month? I don't know if we'll go full red. We still have room to the upside. So if you see the yellow lines here, that is your monthly expected move. So we do have still the possibility, the probability of going up towards that yellow line. But I'm just saying right now, based on how things look, a pullback maybe down to this 50 and then curling back up would be a little bit healthier if we're going to see this kind of look, right? But as of right now, we have AMC and GME popping off. We have COS popping off before they do. Or we have AMC and GME that look like they could curl up on a daily MACD, I should say, and pop off. And then we have COS that already did, which is in the same pool. And now you're just like, okay, well, when's the next thing for AMC and GME? What if AMC announces anything to do with the debt? What if they announce some debt restructure? What if GME, talks about an acquisition? There's any kind of good news that can come out for these companies, which really AMC has had great news. Their movies are doing very well. Their business is doing pretty damn well. So we'll pay attention to it, but you need some good news in order to get some buying to come into it. And then really, if you're looking from a momentum perspective, you just need daily MACDs to start crossing up. Now that could just not be crossed and then cross up on Monday and be way up here. But as of right now, AMC and GME, it looks like they are taking their time. And so I want to pay attention to at least a 30-minute curling up today, because that could tell me that there's a good probability that next week we curl up those daily MACDs. All right, so that's all I'm looking for right here is if AMC can turn up on a 30-minute. But to say the market itself has to end red this whole month, you can't really say that just yet. Now I'm leaning towards some kind of bigger overall pullback and then another push higher into the end of the year, into the election cycle at this point. The actual election, sorry, not the election cycle. But I'm just playing the signals too. And the signals are saying weakness. I'm going to play weakness every chance I get because I'll be right one of these times and I'll make great, great money. That's why I'm looking at things like Amazon. See that? That's what I'm kind of paying attention to on my other screen. I mean, if Jeff Bezos just is selling a bunch of Amazon, then I'm probably looking at Amazon for a play soon. These are actually getting a little closer together. 2-year and the 10-year. But surprising because I believe it's like Japan should be unloading their bonds. Dollar, we said that was going higher. All right. This is only the initial curl up. We'll see. We'll see if this is the only pullback it really needed. But it could pull back further. Look at that daily scale. It could put, oh, that's a big wick though. That's a pretty big wick. If we had green on the dollar, we might be seeing some AMC and GME funny business soon. I guess you go up, maybe you create a handle over here, right, in the liquidity zone. You'd like to go up a little bit higher, but hey, there you go. Take a profit. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with making money. What's been going on with DJT, by the way? Did it do what we were talking about? Okay, perfect. It's doing what we were talking about. So we were talking about with this up at these levels, we were just saying 2-hour pullback would be nice for a trader. Some kind of divergence down towards our zone would be nice for a trader. So right now you're seeing that. If this thing curls up on a 2-hour, pretty much at any time now, if it can create a divergence or create that higher low, that would be a good sign for DJT. You can see a run back up into this like area here, probably towards that 45 price point. We'll see if that's able to turn up. Volatility just spiked all of a sudden. It was negative and then it just spiked by 1.5% pretty much. So curls up, positive territory. We could be seeing some weakness in the overall market soon. They're seriously? God, we are just, it's because, probably, I don't know why they would do that. I really don't know why Mexico would do that because, our system right now is like hanging by a thread. But my thoughts on that would be, hey, if they keep buying our securities, it's pretty much, I would say, more money being pumped into the system and things like that, and the craziness can continue because the rates remain lower. Like, you just saw unemployment tick up. Unemployment tick up, right? And this just dropped off, which makes total sense, by the way. Like this right here, the spike up doesn't really make sense. Unemployment going up, you probably would see the yield come down because unemployment's a bad thing for the economy, so the yields have to go down in order to get more employment going on, just to make loans cheaper for companies. But also, I would say, like, Mexico buying our treasuries might not be the worst move for them in general. I'm just saying we're at a system where the dollar could pretty much collapse at any time. Puts are looking cheap. I wonder if it's a trap. Let me look at some puts here. Yeah, it might be also a leak over from yesterday, because yesterday we had such a high or a low put call ratio, so a lot of calls coming into the market. Previous months also revised up. Hourly earnings month over month down from the previous. Hourly earnings year over year down from the previous. So people are making less money and inflation is still going up. Wow. Oh, but government payrolls gets increased. Of course. And it's crazy because next week we get Jerome Powell's testimony. Then on Wednesday we get a Jerome Powell speech. Then on Thursday we get the core inflation rate. So next week's gonna be a crazy one. Key is actually going up towards that daily expected move. Kind of crazy. I'm sorry. God damn it. What? Great. People are burning our flag in our own country. That's fantastic to see. I'm so glad I clicked over. Yeah, more government jobs, more inflation. Yeah, they don't produce anything. They only take. Government jobs only take. So the more government jobs you have, the more taxation you have, the more debt you have, the higher inflation goes. You are spot on. Spot on, William. Well, so weirdly enough, if the dollar collapses, you say the world's screwed. Did you know a lot of world, like, top countries around the world are just unloading their dollar? So it's actually, if the dollar collapses, that probably means that the whole world stops using the US dollar. And what that does is it brings all our dollars back home, which causes us to have extreme inflation. So we might see a time where we get extreme inflation out there. We'll see. We could see huge inflation of assets if that would happen. Yeah, we can look at Apple real quick. Sorry, I was taking a drink. Apple just booming. So pretty much that you're just going, hey, this is freaking bullish, right? It looks very, very bullish. Now it's right at its daily expected move. So this is where you'd expect weakness. Remember, these things just, they don't go up forever. I know it seems like they do, but you still have divergence points here. So what I'd really be looking for is a clear-cut divergence on the 30-minute, and I don't see it yet. So I think maybe we dip down, go back up. But for now, you'd say the how the market looks right now, not necessarily looking too pretty, right? So we want to look at this 2-hour divergence. Say if that crosses over, that could be a moment to pay attention to. That's what I would say for Apple. because volatility is just a cough and a sneeze away from turning back up here. And if this thing turns up, it's got divergence now. So you do have a little sell-off signal building here, a volatility signal building. That can lead to some weakness in the overall market. And look at where we're at, guys. I mean, it's just insane. We have a similar signal to the upside on the Qs for sure with that divergence there. So we could experience maybe a downturn down to the, monthly expected move to the downside. And I think that would make sense. We'll see what happens throughout the day, though. AMC falling flat, GME at 24.43, so only up 0.25. Not even curling over on a 30-minute yet. So you see the direction. So the most likely scenario is we're targeting that monthly expected move, that 500 level. But what I'm saying is, like, this would be healthy, and then you curl right back up, and then this would be where I really start to pay attention and be like, okay. If that happens pretty early on in the month, that's not the best sign. But as of right now, you can't say that this is bearish by any means. That's why I saw some YouTubers with this downturn right here. A lot of YouTubers saying, this is it, this is the top, this is the moment, we hit a trend line, this is that. And I just go, well, yeah, it could be a moment to pay attention to, but if that 2 hour curls up at any time, it's not going to be the moment. And boom, we curl up and look at that over time. So this is where you want to just say, hey, the 2 hour now I can pay attention to it, but look how high up that is. It's still high up. So if I zoom into this just a little bit here, really give you the full scale, that's still not the closest to the center line anymore. It's closer though, so you'd still pay attention to it. And that does have a chance to roll over. A lot of things cause that daily to start turning down. And then for the SPY, you do a similar thing. AMD going up towards the weekly. Yeah, it's at the weekly expected move now. See, it's just things getting really excited really fast. Dollar not really going positive yet. AMC is still waiting to see what happens with this 30-minute. Let me switch over to, let me see if there's any good info out there. Let's see. I want to listen to tunes, or do I want to like listen to some? I'm gonna do this. This is always fun. Oh, the cool part was, I'm pretty sure Putin came out and said, oh, if there was a different administration, we'd be open to talking. And I was like, oh, that's a good thing. Bloomberg, what are they talking about? No. Just no. Not Bloomberg. 30-minute hasn't curled over yet for GME. Very freaking close. All right, Meta. Think you're making that signal now. We'll see if you fade by the end of the day. But it's just we don't see signals that we're going to see a big fade yet. We're not seeing those signals, just so you're aware. It's not like the last time we caught the rigged move. This is just a slight upward move in the dollar so far at higher levels, which could lead to some kind of pullback. That's fine. That could be something. But usually you want to see more of a rapid move in this while it's going higher. We're not necessarily seeing that. We're actually seeing it back off. But a big wick up for the dollar soon, so we'll see. Tesla weak? No, you can't say Tesla's weak. Now, you could say Tesla's due for a big pullback, right? This has the most implied volatility in it, right? This one here has the biggest swings in the market this month. That is something to note. Put that in a note right here. Just say, okay, this has high implied volatility, big swings, right? So that tells me if this 2 hour turns over, that actually could be dramatic. And then we see that curl back up. That could just be like this, and then we curl back up. So pretty much what you're waiting for is that 2 hour to curl down, curl back up, kind of like a swing trade. We'll work on that course so you guys can learn that style of trading. I'll look at Starbucks first, and then we'll go look at Rivian real quick. So Starbucks, you see dropping off, just dramatically dropping off here. So what this most likely was a daily up by the center line. Yeah, daily up by the center line. Now you're crashing back down. We mentioned this in the past, like the area back up in these levels. I think someone was asking, oh, how low do you expect Starbucks to go? And I said, well, if it's going to go really low, I really like the lows here. I really like this little zone in here that starts around 70.53. I think that area looks pretty good. As of right now, that would be a point where you could make a divergence. That's why I really like that point. All right, so you're coming into an area where, oh, okay, this would create something for me to the upside. Yeah, I think so. Tesla's really told you the direction, so, and it has big implied volatility. So that would tell me if I see a pullback, the next move can be big as well, right? So just looking at Tesla again real quick on say a 2 hour or even something like that. You know, a 2 hour, what do we see? Well, we saw a big move up, right? We saw a good move up. And then we get by that center line. You see how we get to that center line and then we curl up again. Swing trade says, okay. And then boom, you see it just rocket to the upside. I don't know why that kept drawing. But you see that big move to the upside. So it's just telling you now there's a lot of steam in this and there's no reversal signals yet. There's really none. So if I see that 2 hour pull back at all and then just turn right back up, ooh, that would be a solid little look, right? You're seeing the same thing you saw over here, just a little bit more dramatic. You got to be patient for that swing down. You got to make sure to see that MACD cross and all that good stuff. Rivian was one that we were mentioning. I think we said it almost looks like 2 hour divergence here. It almost does. It really is close because these are the high of the actual MACD, but this is the high of the RSI. So right here, you kind of have a double top. But with the MACD, you do have that 2 hour divergence, which likes to roll over daily charts. So what's the daily look like here? Well, it's been going up for some time. It's a little overbought. So maybe it needs to retest a level. Maybe it needs to retest this level that it broke out from right here. So this level just above the gap. So you'd say gap, but I would say just above the gap towards like 1224. I think a retest of that level would be great. And then you see that thing turn back around over time. And then you got to watch out for earnings. Earnings right around the corner. 50-50 flip with that guy. Financials are down. Let's just look at XLF and see what's going on. All right, there you go. So we're seeing a little bit of a breakdown, possibly a double top. Let's look at this on the 2 hour. Ooh, you're so close to being a double top, but I don't think you are. So this is just overall saying to me, hey, I'm curling down. That could lead me into negative territory. Now we did just create a higher low. So us going down lower would be interesting. You're kind of just flagging out sideways. Maybe we need to spread this thing out a little bit. Maybe we need to look a little bit deeper. And if you look at the daily scale, you just say if that daily turns over negative, it's kind of a wonky time for the stock, for XLF. I'd say it's a wonky time for financials. I'm trying to think what we could read into for financials necessarily, but if you're seeing the individual names start to create some signals, that's a good thing too. Look at the individual names. So you're looking at Goldman Sachs, that's a good thing to do. When it looks like this, it's good to look at the individual names, see if they're having any kind of divergences on weekly moves, anything like that. Home builders is down. Yeah, I like to look at the HGX for home builders. So home builder's been dropping dramatically, and one of the ones I really like, Nail, it follows it almost to a T. So this is the home builders 3x bull leverage one, and you'll notice that thing is just going negative and negative. And actually home builders is a good amount of for the sentiment of are we going into a deflationary event. The housing sector is a good indication of where the stock market should actually be going actually. And this right here is saying we should be going down. So you're seeing a lot of things saying we should be going down. You have HGX, you have HYG and TLT still at lower levels, and you have XLU, which is at lower levels as well. Meanwhile, the stock market is higher. Okay. So yeah, I think we're in for something funky, and I think we've experienced one of the weirdest stock market times in all of history. Visa. This is one I still like it for the swing trade. I'd really like it to get above that 50. but I'm not seeing necessarily the best divergences across the way or anything like that. So maybe I want to see if like a weekly is able to turn up. You see how that's close to the center line? That would really convince me, hey, swing trade to the upside. But you got to take back all these moving averages first. As of right now, 2 hour, what's happening? Well, we're curling up by the center line. If there's going to be more weakness in this, if we need to make a stronger base, we could see that turn down. But as of right now, it's saying contrarian bull signal. Google really paying attention to this just random upward move. There's not a lot. Obviously there's the divergence on the MACD. You're just not seeing it on the R side at the same time. We still have an hour left in the bar. We'll see what happens. But for the 30-minute, this thing is just screaming higher at this point. So you would say if this is going to remain bullish, because we have to talk bullish about it, it's a very bullish move, then you would like to see that 30-minute pull down and pull back up. Kind of like we did right here. Big bullish move. We pull down, we cross, awesome, we go back up. Right? If we're within range of that positive territory, you got a good probability to go positive as you are in a positive trend. So right now we would only talk about that until we actually see this thing go negative, right? Like extremely negative. Like over here would have been an example of a time where something actually bad could have happened. We could have rolled over again, but it didn't happen, right? We ended up going positive. So down at these levels, you have less likelihood. You see how it's more of a fight? Less likelihood to go up from there because you're very deep into negative territory. You look like you might need to make a stronger base. We didn't make a stronger base. We just ended up going positive in this area and then gapping higher and going, seeing that drop off, but now closer to the center line. So that's your first real big 30-minute swing. And then right here, closer to the center line, closer to the center line. Really close to the center line, right? Like still positive. And then right here, you start to see the divergence and you go, okay, the game might be over for a little bit. All right, bigger pullback, still close to the center line, boom, triggered, goes to the upside. So as far as right now goes with Google, you're really waiting for a pullback. If not going to see some kind of crazy price action down because we're creating another new, all-time high? Yeah, another new all-time high. And we have a daily divergence. So what I like to see with daily divergence, though, with a daily MACD is some kind of divergence on the 2-hour chart. We do have some kind of divergence there. But I just want to be aware that this is a very bullish move. So me just taking this right now on a whim, sure, if I'm outside of a monthly expected move or something like that, which Google is outside of a monthly expected move, you can make a decision, right? You just need 5 reasons to take the trade is what I'm looking for, right? That's what I look for all the time. I look for 5 reasons to take the trade. And I just don't see a ton of them just yet. Maybe by the end of the day that changes. We'll see. Nvidia looked bullish, right? It looks very bullish still. Maybe it's getting a 30-minute pullback, weirdly enough, which would be interesting because Nvidia with its pullbacks is just pretty much sideways. So I think that if we're able to curl down, curl back up, okay. But if we're going negative, then we start to break below these levels, break below these levels. That's not a good sign. But as you are just retesting this area, which you just broke out from, I really like a retest of that area, and then maybe you just compile up there for a little bit and see that thing shoot off. Right now, 30 minutes says positive, 2 hour says positive. The only one that I believe says pullback still is the daily scale. So daily scale though, like pretty much this bar would say swing trade. That bar right there would say swing trade right here. So it's kind of like, that's why I'm just saying I'm being a little bit minimalist to my any kind of upward play, just because I think the risk to reward isn't there. You want Boeing? I thought this was Boeing. I mean, if you want to look at Boeing, this thing just hasn't looked good for a long time. Your weekly's turning up, but you're just kind of moving sideways. So you have potential to drop a little bit lower here if that weekly turns over at any time. As of right now, daily's positive, so positive move could be there. Let's see, 2 hour curls up. We see more positivity. That'd be awesome. Yeah, I know. I know what you said. Yeah, I'm just being stupid. Is it like this? Those are going to be wonky though. AMC about to break up. Let's see. Remember, just right now, you just need a 30 minutes to curl up. I checked on gold a little bit. It's just, gold to me was just interesting because it had that solid look for divergence, and then it gapped down for a day, and then it gapped up like the divergence was still in play. So daily side was able to turn up there for gold, which was like my thesis on it. Yeah, I'm sorry, Amog. My thesis on it was like, oh, this looks like very highly probable trade. It looks like an environment where gold wants to go up. Okay, cool, boom. And then it drops down for one day. And Tommy, thank you so much for subscribing. And then it goes down for one day, and then it gaps back up. It's kind of crazy. Thoughts on ARM? Oh yeah, we can look at ARM. If you got a different one, Amog, I got you, bro. Still worried about divergence now. So divergence at these levels, just because you didn't necessarily create the best like cup and handle, anything like that. You are scoping out like this looks pretty healthy to me. It does, because you're just moving sideways, getting this good wavy price action, good higher low. So the higher move makes sense, but now you have to pay attention to divergence. So in this area, it looks like a divergence is forming on the daily scale. What do we have at the top here? Well, we have divergence pretty much all across this at this moment for ARM. So actually, my thesis would be over the next 2 months, we're going to see ARM at least probably pull back to this 50 at some point. But that could just move sideways, guys. You know, when you're pulling back to the 50, you don't have to just drop straight down, right? We can just do this a little bit for a while, and then that 50 just catches up like this, and then it's all done. So I'm not saying that it looks like overly bearish. I'm saying right here, you do have potential for a bigger pullback, in my opinion. Looking at getting leaves, which, I mean, so as far as this goes, this looks extremely bullish, but you're at a weekly expected move. I'm looking at the environment of the stock market. So I know the individual names are where the opportunity lies, but for now, I would say I'm a little nervous. If I'm pretty much, it's like I'm nervous, but I'm nervous for upside plays for the most part. So if I'm going to do an upside play, it's going to be a quick one. I don't want to be holding anything too long and have my time kind of making me susceptible to some kind of crash, honestly, in the next few months. So I'm taking shorter ones, but this does say upside. Now, as far as leaps go, you probably want to see what's happening on the monthly scale here. So like you're saying you want to make a downward play, like a 3-year downward play or something like that. I get it. But then I would say, is it to the upside or downside? Yeah, we checked on Bitcoin. The overall statement from Bitcoin was, by the way, I was looking at this last night too, a monthly scale, because you guys know I'm waiting for us to get to my purple zone. I think we will end up there eventually. I think the crash, just so you guys know, this is overall still something that is held by elites, right? The elite in the class, they hold this type of stuff. So if they just want to rip it away because they need to pay for the AMC GME prompt, they can do that. Selling could beget more selling. And then we could see this crossover, and you have divergence on the monthly scale, which leads me to believe eventually we will end up down by this purple zone. And then this is my accumulation zone. This is where I'll start to accumulate Bitcoin if we can get all the way down there. Now, I'm still paying attention. If this thing goes like this and turns right back up, then I'll be like, okay, game time, right? But that's overall Bitcoin. Bitcoin, and it had the divergences at the top here that we talked about on the daily scale too. HFG. Yeah, what were you mentioning with HFG? HelloFresh. HelloFresh. How are you? See, like, I don't hate on companies like this, really, because there is a strategy that I heard a friend of, I believe it was a friend of my dad's do, where he just takes like, I think he takes like, it's like every certain amount of years he takes $20,000 and he just puts like $5,000 into 4 companies that look kind of like this. And then he's always right on one, and they see a crazy move, and he makes a ton of, like, he like 3x's his money over the years. I thought that was an interesting strategy. I've never really tried that, but I would say if the monthly could turn up, I think this has a good chance to actually be okay. But the reason you have to be a little bit careful is because we're in an environment still, and we have to always mention it. We're in an environment where you see the divergence, awesome, okay, cool. But we're in an environment where a lot of companies might go away. If the debt gets actually sucked out of the system, like, it can be a time where things actually start to go away that can't handle themselves. So I'd look into that a little bit with these guys. But as far as a buy low, sell high, like, I think you're looking at the right stocks, right? Oh, AMC just went up by 1.8%. Now you just need this 30-minute to curl up. I need to set mine to auto or whatever. But 30-minute needs to curl up. GME, 30-minute never curled down. Dang it, now I gotta take a bathroom break. Watch AMC, guys. Pour some Japanese mayo on it for me. I'll be right back, and then we'll look at Enphase for you, okay, Bento? All right. Let's look at Enphase for you real quick. Isn't that ENPH? Okay, daily turn up could be coming. So you notice this. Like, first look at the daily, be like, okay, that looks like it needs to bounce at some point, right? It's down at some support level. Maybe we see a bounce here. So maybe I could look for a bounce signal. Okay, 2-hour divergence, just got the rejection divergence. So that's a good sign. That's a good starting sign. But you're still out far away from the center line. So what this is telling me here is if I was looking at this and I had a weekly expected move, maybe I'd look into next week's weekly expected move. But as far as Enphase goes, this is a signal you see before a bounce. That's just all I could say here. This is a contrarian bullish signal as of right now. You're not getting the best bar. Yeah, no assumption. It's like if this was moving like a regular stock, okay? If this was a regular stock, we would say things like that. And it is likely, right? If it's going to keep behaving regularly, then a 4-hour might pull back, a 2-hour might pull back. I think the 2-hour pulling back looks likely. But I want to pay attention to in case something crazy happens. So I just know if 30-minute has some momentum behind it and that curls up the daily chart, you might have daily momentum behind it too. Yeah, Palantir looks like it needs to pull back. And the thing is, with Palantir, you do have a divergence up here right now between these two highs. But if you need to make one in the nearest price action, maybe you see something like this happen, right? If you want it to be really close, you see something like this. That'd be nice. But as of right now, you're kind of just like seeing this weird sideways up move. Like you would expect this to be a strong move, but it's not. So it's interesting. But there is 2-hour divergence there. So you just got to be aware of that. But still, you're playing the signals back and forth. Everything needs to pull back. Yeah. And literally everything needs to pull back. Hey, Bitcoin's doing it for you, right? Oil, look at that thing. Hey, we're starting to come down just a little bit for oil. Gold, solid move. See, this is, so I'll show you guys the divergence I really liked. I loved this divergence right here. But it's like we didn't have enough liquidity or something because I really liked this and then it went sideways throughout this day, dropped off, went right back up. So like this was kind of where I was like, oh, this looks like a good move is coming for gold. And then it made this drop down and then it drops back and then it pops back up and then it goes. And I'm just like, man, this thing is just ripping back and forth. Let's go look at it. You're saying long term. Okay, so long term, we can look at a monthly first, see if that's a good long term one. And it looks like we maybe don't have enough data to see long term. Judging by how it looks though, just so you know, the MACD would cross right around this level here. Somewhere in here would be where that MACD is crossing on a monthly scale. So this is where that cross on the monthly scale most likely happened. Now we don't have a lot of data, so let's look on a weekly. And if we look on a weekly so far, we're seeing a lot of upward price action. That's great. But you notice that the times where you actually want to, say, invest for a long time, you really want to see a monthly turning up. That's first of all. But second of all, you would most likely see the weekly go positive. The weekly went positive right here. Great investment for a little bit of time. Hey, if you just want to keep holding it, keep holding it, keep holding it. It's not losing that 20. Now you're getting up into an area where that weekly has to confirm more upside. You see this? It has to confirm more upside, or you could see a bigger pullback, maybe down into a previous area where people built up some liquidity. So this area right here could prove to be important around $7 to $8. So I want to pay attention. What does the signal look like? Does a weekly look like it could roll over? Do I have daily divergence? And you do. You technically do. So I would be careful trying to hold something for a long time in an environment like this. It doesn't mean you can't. It doesn't mean it's a bad thing by any means. It just tells me, hey, I need to be a little bit cautious. I'm seeing some divergences here, not necessarily a reason to panic or anything like that. Just you might see some kind of pullback like this on the daily scale, or you might get lucky, see some kind of weekly pullback down to this level, see that weekly turn back up. And then you'd want to more so say that wouldn't be a hold for like years. That would more so be like a 2 to 6 month hold, because you're on a weekly chart overall. So if you're on a weekly chart and you see this thing pull back significantly and then curl back up into positive territory, like if it just curled down like this and then curled right back up, curled down, curled right back up, this hold here would most likely not be years, right? This would most likely be like, okay, a few months, and then that curls back over, you see the divergence, and then later on you'll start to get that data, and then maybe you see a bigger drop. I just want to think about things as I see them right now, because a lot of the stock market's heading higher to all-time highs again, and in the environment we're in, we're really due for the debt to start to come out of the system. We are in a bubble, so I just want to be aware of that looking at every stock, especially when it comes to the investing side. Because usually when you're investing, you're putting, more money on the line, I would say, for a long time. You're willing to scale in things like that, I get it, but let me see. Intel. Ooh, Intel, what are you doing? Dang, curled up on a 2 hour, never curled back down. No daily divergence either. Trying to go positive. That's a fairly good break to the upside, because you were consolidating in this level. So if you start to close above this, yeah, you could be seeing something pretty good from Intel. See this too. All the moving averages kind of compile up. You're starting to close above all of them. A big move actually could be coming for Intel. Let's look at the weekly scale. Has that turned up yet? So look, it looks like that weekly could start to turn up. Maybe you get a reaction up to the 20, 50, 200. You'd pay attention to what the daily looks like. But as of right now, I think the 200 would be a likely scenario. Now, if this is going to really be a higher low, you can go bigger. You can go bigger than that. We can go into a positive trend. But in the environment we're in, I'm expecting the 200 to be the best case scenario as of right now, till I see this thing go positive. AMC at 515 now. Ooh, pretty good. Oh, hold on. All right, cool. We got some juices flowing on it. So this one here, we still want to see that 30-minute curl up. We still want to see this 30-minute remain curled up and nothing changes, right? We're good. And then you could see a big move. What's my best buy for right now? Like, what am I holding to the long side? AMC and GME. When the stock market looks like it does right now, I don't hold anything to the long side. The only thing I'm thinking about is TLT, but considering, Japan might just drop all of our bonds, drop all of our treasuries, I'm kind of like, oof. Market trading, thank you. Thank you, Funny Whittle, really appreciate it. And WRX, thank you for subscribing as well. So we're just talking about how in order to remain healthy, well, the SPY needs to turn down on the 30-minute, curl back up, curl down on the 2 hour, curl back up. Awesome. That's just how we're talking, like, to say what we would like to see for a trade. We don't necessarily want to be doing much here. That'd be chasing at a weekly expected move by this point. Really, the point was right here, we said, hey, the most likely move here is upside. Right? I can't really be like, oh, is it going to hit this number today? Nobody can answer that question, but I can tell you when momentum is saying the most probable move is up. Momentum just went positive, which tells us what? The momentum is most likely to definitely go up if it's positive. There you go. Thank you for subscribing there, Funny Whittle. You funny little creatures. But when the stock market's doing this type of stuff, I see some daily divergences that could be rejecting and things like that, and we're screaming to higher levels still, and we're seeing the dollar still at elevated levels. Yeah, it's coming down now, but it's still elevated ever since really December of 2023. Look how elevated the dollar is still. So we're paying attention to it, just curled over, but if that thing curls back up, now we're in business again. As of right now, this push makes sense. We're seeing some big people put some money in right now. But I just want to be aware of the environment. I want to be careful of my risk to the long side right now, because this is a time where we could see something dramatic happen over the next couple of years. And then I'll kick myself if I lose my money in the process and then I can't invest at lower levels. ARM looked interesting, it did, but really you just have like maybe a point of divergence forming here, right? We maybe have some 2 hour stuff going on here. Now you have that point of divergence. If that curls over, not a good sign. So if you're looking at momentum telling you, hey, there's going to be a shift down, this 2 hour is going to cross down and go negative. That's a key thing. Now you're going up very quickly, so maybe we want to see if this 2 hour is able to turn back down yet or has some kind of reversal signal. Right now, this 30-minute does not tell you any kind of weakness for that 2 hour to curl down. This 30-minute could just do this, pop up one more time, and then you would see that signal of weakness and momentum. As of right now, this says momentum is strong. I'm very high up in positive territory. So the most likely scenario is this could pull back into this area one more time and then curl right back up. And then a big move happens, boom, we go like this, and then you see that divergence pop up. That would convince you the 2 hour is going to turn back down. So I think we could be in for a few things to drop and then pop again, and then we'll see. Coinbase calls. Ooh. Yeah, there's the flagging we talked about. 2 hour curling down, so a little bit difficult there. Maybe double bottom pops up for you, but right now the momentum is telling you the momentum is going down in negative territory. As far as Tesla hitting, I think Tesla could pass 251. You're talking about 251. As far as the daily expected moves goes, and I think that this will hold true for Tesla today. Technically, it could go all the way up to 258. It could go really, really high. The implied volatility for today was almost 100% for Tesla, which is kind of crazy. For a stock that's worth, 248 right now, to have 100%, or I think it was like 98%. I think it was 98% implied volatility in one day. That is pretty crazy to see. So does it have the ability to hit, I think you said what'd you say? 251? Yeah, it does have that ability to hit 251 today. Has it already? It already has hit 251, so yeah. It's hit 252. Now, if you're actually saying 151, it's already past 150. At this area, though, this would be chasing. This in no way says like, hey, this is a great move to get behind if you're a shorter time frame trader. The 30-minute saying, hey, this thing needs to pull back. So right now you could experience a pullback before you actually fully break through that 250 price point. Yeah, it could happen, though. You could just break, like, according to the expected moves for the day, it could just happen. It's in the 68% zone. You're still in the 68% zone now. 251 is in the 68% zone as well, so it would make sense. It's a huge implied volatility. I think it was like 18, was it like 12 to 18 points down or 12 to 18 points up? I think that's kind of crazy. Yeah, and so if you see resistances or anything like that, you see that we have liquidity in this area, so we're going to need to break through this 264 to see more upside. Now let's look at it from like a different perspective here, like a weekly scale. Okay, weekly scale told you, hey, it's a solid buy, right? That's what the weekly overall was saying down at these levels. It says, hey, weekly momentum is shifting up, contrarian bullish signal. Now you want to say, like, is this a good investment? Well, if this monthly is able to turn up, we're very early on in the month. You have to wait pretty much the whole, at least over half of the month to see the signal to be convinced by it. And now you're closing above all those moving averages. But this is happening really early in the month. That's why I don't want people to get faked out if this thing sees a dramatic pullback, or if even on the daily scale, this wants to pull back for the entire month. We've got what, earnings on the 23rd. So AMC still popping or what? AMC still popping. Uh-oh, what is that? What is that? What is that? What is that? Is that a little green bar? Oh my goodness, that's a little green bar. That's a little green bar. Follow the yellow brick road. Oh gosh, that's a little green bar. We'd love to see it. But overall, 30-minute, gotta remain positive. So we need this guy to curl up. I don't know about today. I'm saying overall throughout the month of July, I expect there to be some kind of pullback in order to actually take a trade. Hey, Rose, thank you so much for subscribing. Awesome, guys. Make sure to smash that like button as much as possible today. Looks like we're getting some new people in here. We love to see it. More people. If you guys have questions, anything like that, and you're new, feel free to ask questions. You know, how do we do things? What's divergence? What are the weekly ranges? How do you use them? Anything like that. We do talk about it in the course, but I make sure to talk about it live all the time. I'm not sitting here trying to be a gatekeeper and be like, you have to take the course to learn. You can learn from this channel. It just might take you a long time to put the pieces together. That course, it's only $100 for the next, 3 days or so. So I would get that while it lasts. Get that over the weekend. The weekend is a great time to dedicate some learning. I just bought a new book. I'm very excited about it. I bought a new psychology book. I'm very excited about it. And I'm going to dedicate myself to some psychology learning over the weekend. But that link is down in the description, guys. It'll teach you all of this stuff, so it's very, very clear, and you don't have to piece it together on YouTube. I think the only person who was able to really message me and say they really pieced it together on YouTube, they said it took them over 100 videos to really get it down. And they've been following me and subscribed to me for, I think it was about 6 months now. But yeah, Tesla looks like you more so will see some kind of pullback in order for a trade at this level. And then as far as it goes, you could see how you're outside of the monthly. So the book I got was I gotta see the name again. So the one I got was, it's like this one was Jordan Peterson, and he did a book where he kind of, so if you guys don't know, I was bullied as a kid. I had extreme depression issues. At one point in my life, I lost my business, lost my house, had to move back in with my parents, that kind of thing. And that sent me for a loop. And one book that really helped me out actually was The 12 Rules. If you're someone who, struggles with discipline or just kind of feel a little funky or something like that, I highly encourage that book. It was a great book. Really use your brain during it. And then he put out another one recently called Beyond Reason, which is another 12 rules, where he more so actually talks about, certain clients that he's worked with and their behavior, and then he relates it to an issue. And I thought that was really cool, so I just picked it up. I'm going to give it a whirl. You like Wyckoff? Wyckoff distribution, I don't really do anything with it with my strategies, but I do notice it. You know what I mean? Like, I'll notice it. Yeah, there might be a shift towards AMD or something like that. That would make some sense. Like, it's more like Wyckoff's like something I pay attention to for distribution, but I'm still playing my signals overall. Does that make sense? Reese? So as far as it goes, like, this could be a 30-minute pullback. There could be a 2-hour pullback. There could be a daily pullback. There literally could be any type of pullback here. That's why you have to be really aware of it. A lot of the time when you see a bullish move, though, you do get another 30-minute push higher at the least. Oh, there was another book I wanted to read too, and it was like a C.S. Lewis book. My favorite book, if you wanted to know, is Screwtape Letters. It's like about demons, and it's from the perspective of a demon whose like day job is to make people do bad things. I think it was really, really cool. Is this what you're looking at? Is that thing going up? That's because the yields are coming down, probably. Yeah, there you go. This is just a 3x TLT play pretty much, right? This is the 20-year. I mean, the thing with TLT was I think it was the weekly scale turned up here, and that's what I was really paying attention to. Because that's saying, hey, we have a potential to go positive territory. That's good, Josh. That's a good note for people. If you do take the class, then watch the channel. Everything makes it a lot easier to understand. It helped me. Yeah, so once you do take the course, you get it clear, and then probably the things that I say very quickly live or something like that, you just put it together like that. Very cool. I like the MACD as just a good confirmation of momentum. So I like to take plays that have momentum to the upside. So what I like to look for are pretty much, I call it like a golden setup, where you see a bunch of divergences all at the same time. So one of them that I like to point out, we talk about it in the course, was Apple back in this area with the triple divergence, had divergences all at these levels. So this was a great example, and we'll talk about it in the course for the most part. But this here is how we called the bottom in October. And then up here, I think it was a weekly scale move, but up here is how we called the overall top for Apple in December. We saw that drop off. We saw that curl back down and go negative. So we said, oh, we're not going to go to a new high. All right. Then we saw divergences again before earnings. We said take it with a grain of salt because it's earnings, but it is Apple. Apple saves the market a lot with earnings. Boom, heads to the upside. So this is the type of stuff that on the daily scale can really help you out. And then if you get good at it on the shorter time frames, you can just get a better price than doing it on the daily scale. Because you'll see, like, a lot of the time when we're making this right here, we'll have a 2 hour, and that 2 hour dropping down will have a 30-minute, and then you're like, okay, cool, awesome, I'm in. Then you just have to understand your positioning over is like a month or two out. Therefore, you see the big move, and then boom, you're able to make some money. No, I don't. Yeah, you can use RSI as well. So RSI is just a little bit more leading. So like right around here though, you notice that the MACD and RSI crossed at the same time. Those are kind of the best ones. So this is one of the best ones, I would say, right there, because you see the MACD actually crossed up before the RSI. Now the MACD crossed the center line here. RSI did that just a little bit sooner before. But then we had kind of a pullback in that area. So overall, I just really like the MACD as an overall confirmation. Do I still know how to front run stuff? Yes, I do. Like, I know how to get ahead of this MACD signal. But a lot of the times, the way I get ahead of this daily signal, like let's say I'm trying to get ahead of this daily MACD signal, all I'm doing is looking at a shorter time frame. Because if I get a confirmation on a shorter time frame, right? I see this start to curl up and go positive, then I could say, okay, now my daily play is going to most likely work out. So I use more of a shorter time frame to get a better position, not necessarily trying to get it when the MACD crosses over on that position on the daily scale. I'm looking for a signal in the shorter time frames that tell me that that daily has a good probability of crossing. And then once that daily probability happens, if that does happen and it sets up, then I take the play, that daily crosses over, I feel good about it, I manage the trade, which we teach you how to manage the trade as well. So you're looking for some signals in here that are convincing you there could be upside. Best trades are when they all suggest the same move. Yes, exactly. So you'll hear me say a lot, MACD and RSI at the same time. At the same time, at the same time, at the same time. We say that a lot. When we talk about volatility and plays with volatility, I trade volatility a lot. So what am I looking for with volatility? Well, I'm looking for a good signal for volatility to have an upward move, but I'm also looking for that bad signal for the SPY to have a downward move, right? Because then volatility can turn up and things can start to come down. As of right now, you would say, hey, well, okay, so right now I have a 2 hour divergence on the SPY. I have a 2 hour divergence on the SPY. So what do I have on volatility? Do I have a 2 hour divergence here? Yes, I do, and it confirmed. So that would tell me the SPY actually has a good likelihood now to experience some volatility because that signal and this signal are here at the same time. We got overexcited. Now we're watching out below. Well, it can depend a lot on if you're squeezing or something like that, because MACDs can look really funky in a squeeze, which is pretty much what you're getting now. I mean, pretty much what you got in the past. So right here, this is the funkiness during like an overall squeeze, an overall bull run squeeze to the upside. Look how wonky it looks. And that's where, like, at this point here, you just say, hey, I know I'm in a bullish trend for a long time because I'm really up on the MACD here. So I'm looking for those little 2 hour swing ups. If I play those little 2 hour swing trades, which we're going to put out that swing trading course once I get some time, make it really cheap because swing trading is very simple. If you're able to understand the course now, that is so you can trade in any market. It really is. That's the knowledge you need. The course that's out there right now, that's $100, only $100 for this weekend. So that course will teach you how to be able to trade in any market and a bear market. So it really helps you in a market that hurts retail the most, which is a bear market. And then the swing trading will just be, hey, here's what you need to do. Here's the entry. Here's this. We'll maybe discuss MACD and RSI a little bit. It just depends more so. What did you say? 380, 395, October 24 to July 25. Actually, yeah. So that's kind of what I'm leaning towards at this point. I think we could see some kind of even dramatic move. I think this could go boom like this, go to that 50 and then turn right back around, and then we get up towards that September, October, and then we see that top come in. Some kind of daily divergence that's actually like, you know, this dips down, gets up, gets close to that center. Maybe we see another one like this, and then we see just a bunch of divergences that get us close to the center line. But yeah, I'd say more so leaning towards like a some kind of pullback that leads into a bigger move up. Now, if we just make another big move, if we just keep making big moves up, then I think we're due for the bubble to be popped into the bobble. Yeah, we're due for the bobble to be popped. Like, I think that we're going to be going up way too fast, and the higher you go, the harder the fall. Yeah, it's pretty much, I think we're in an environment where you have to treat almost every top as it could be a major top, and then you just want to see if your signal's proving that. So it's pretty much like, if this is a major top, then we're going to see it go down dramatically and not be able to turn back up around these type of areas, right? But if it turns back up, then I know, okay, that's not the major top. That's pretty much all it is. Intel calls are killing it. Are they still going? Yeah, and you see the RSI here, and we actually have a rejection divergence that could form here, unless we cross up, but you could have that right here. You have divergence all across the way. The biggest one, though, is the monthly one. If you just zoom out and look at the monthly, you're like, ooh, look at this, boom, boom, boom on the RSI. You just have one matching it now on the MACD. That's why I've really been paying attention to this lately, and why you could see lower prices by 2020, the end of 2025. We could be all the way down towards 329 by the end of 2025. Being genuine about that, we could be all the way down towards 329. We could be down towards this trend line by 2025, by the end of 2025. Oh, of course, Reese. Thank you for like asking a bunch of stuff. It's fun. Let's go look at AMC real quick, because that thing, guess what AMC is doing? It's turning up on a monthly scale. So pour some sauce on it here real quick. All right, now let's take a look. So AMD, you still need to curl up on, or AMC, you need to curl up on the 30-minute here. Haven't done that yet. What's AMD doing, actually? Woo, what a move. As far as what you should do, I can't really tell you what to do, but we can go look at it and say, wow, that is a major upward move really, really fast, and might be a get out of jail free card, honestly, because that is a big upward move. But the daily is turning up, positive territory. I'm just telling you right now, I'm like nervous for all of these type of stocks. I really am. I think that this was a big move without seeing a pullback. Now we can just keep continuing to see that, right? It's not unheard of. That happens all the time. Microsoft doing that right now, just not confirming any daily divergence here. So that immediately makes it kind of, I would more so say, you know, giving people FOMO to the upside for these stocks. They're like, don't get FOMO in AMC and GME. It's like, but get FOMO for Microsoft, get FOMO for Meta, get FOMO for Amazon. It's just like, really? Like, really? Is that really what we're doing here? Because right now I'm not seeing any kind of like strength for Amazon. I'm seeing strength for other stocks, but it's kind of like a is anyone's bullshit meter going off? Yes, actually, Josh, yes. Yeah, so swing trading is very good for bullish markets, which means you will pretty much be playing the stocks that are rigged to the upside. So like Nvidia and things like that, you can swing trade those, and those will be the ones that you can just make money off of how they just rig moves higher. So you say you pick a stock that they really hate, but you see start to go up. Maybe you see if Nancy Pelosi has the stock or something like that, and then you just go, okay, I'm going to swing trade this one on the daily because Nancy Pelosi bought calls for the next 2 years. You know, literally, you could probably go and look. I think didn't she buy, like, she bought Nvidia recently again. So she bought calls in Nvidia right before this big move, by the way. She literally did it like right here, and then a big move happened. So what would I want to do? Okay, well, if this daily crosses back up, then I know she's in the move, so I maybe want to swing trade this, right? That's what this is telling me right now. Do I believe this move is the best right now? Not necessarily, but this technically is the a swing trade signal here. I would just like more of a pullback before I see anything like that. I do have volume. I just turn it on every once in a while. So you see the volume light. And then I just turn it on every once in a while. I just don't like my thing to be crowded. It just overcrowds my thing here. So I just turn it on when I need it. I try to keep my trading as simple as possible as well. I'm a firm believer, and usually I have my camera on. You'll get to see me next time, but usually I do have the theory of the simplest answer is usually the right one. And so this is where I think common sense comes in when you're looking at the SPY and the Qs. Okay, if these just continue to move higher, look at this, they're continuing to move higher. Awesome, that's great. But isn't my bullshit meter's kind of flashing here? My BS meter is just going, I don't think that this is probably the smartest time to have a bunch of money into the market right now, right? Like, isn't that kind of just like in your brain, you're like, wow, this seems really high up, right? If we simplified it down to buy low, sell high, it'd be like, maybe I want to wait till low because this is pretty high up. That's kind of what my brain says to me every day when I look at the stock market these days. How to look for a penny stock? What I used to do was look for like extreme gainers, extreme losers back in the day when I used to do a few penny stocks. But for the most part, I don't mess with penny stocks too much anymore. How long is this market going to go up? Well, it's as long as they can keep it to go up. The thing is, with volatility right now, you're seeing a signal here. This is a signal to pay attention. This is a time to pay attention, and you're seeing, you know, AMC and GME are two things that can crash the market. I'm just telling you right now, they can. And AMC is curling up on a daily. If that curls up on the daily, you might have daily momentum to the upside going into next week. And we all know the big pop happened. When the big pop happened, what day of the week was it? It was a Monday. It was a Monday. So, and penny stocks more so would be like let me throw, you know, if I'm pretty well off and I just want to throw, you know, $1,000 at 10 penny stocks and see what happens. Maybe like biotech, a lot of biotech penny stocks, you can see some good pushes higher over time, like some kind of spike if they get something that's approved. Yeah, it's just, I don't risk myself on anything that's worth less than $1 as well, Reese. Like, I just don't do it anymore. I got good at something, so I'm like, why would I change that too much? Ooh, cross back down, dang. GME crosses up, good things can happen. We'll get these new levels for you next week. We're not really going towards them ever, which is interesting. But these start to curl up, they can start to rip, and then you're probably going to see the market suffer because of them, because that's their collateral, stocks in the stock market, unless it's like a fake pump or something like that. See if this 2 hour wants to curl over at any time. It's just, I'm highly surprised if it curls up and then curls right back down. Yeah, see, I'm having trouble just paying attention to regular support levels for AMC and GME because it has a short seller problem. We've seen it just break through supports before. We've seen it break through resistance before. So it's kind of just a battle back and forth, and you gotta, I'm more so just saying like, hey, I'm paying attention to momentum. Like what kind of company, Josh? Like, what is there a company you have in mind? Just wait till they start giving out bird flu vaccines and telling you to stay in your home again, guys. Because then biotech, you might want to look for whoever's making the next drug. They're like, dang it, we couldn't get these darn smart Americans not to take a vaccine and try to exercise their freedom. They want natural immunity? God, that's awful. No hate if you got the vaccine. It's fine. I think everyone should do whatever the hell they want as long as it's legal. As long as it doesn't hurt another American, I'm cool with it. Yeah, see, yeah, that was what I was more so saying in that little note there was Pfizer. Pfizer, weirdly enough, could be producing the next bird flu virus, right? Or vaccine. Well, they're probably producing the virus too, but just looking back to what happened during the COVID times, well, look at all of 2020. Well, 2020 proved to be, ever since that COVID low, to be a good time for Pfizer. Yeah, I'm not going to look too much at that, but yeah, FFIE, and this is one that I've talked about before, mainly seeing the daily cross up is what I'm paying attention to for a lot of these types that are probably have the short selling problem in them. You're really just looking for daily momentum to get with you. You notice that you're very, very tight in here. So if you're looking for a chance for that daily to roll up, well, you'd at least need a 2 hour going positive. Is the 2 hour positive right now? No, it's not. So the probability right now, according to your momentum indicators, they can change really quick, right? We can see a gap up or something, but right now your indicator is telling you that momentum is down. Yeah, I saw that green bar. Good old Pfizer. There's a whole country right now that's vaccinating all their people. I can't remember what country. They're vaccinating all their people for the bird flu, and there hasn't been one case of bird flu, and they're vaccinating. And then Bill Gates is coming out saying we need to get rid of cows because they might have bird flu, and we haven't even tested one cow. I'm just like, dude, we're just like, we're not idiots. Like, like, okay, tell us you want to put some kind of chip in us without telling us you want to put some kind of chip in us. Like, come on. Oh, I think I can unplug my mouse now. What's good, polar bear? Yeah, but you really just need all these ones to get daily momentum. And the proof of that, by the way, is just looking at this on the daily scale. Remember what we said the last time that daily turned up? We're about to see a big move. 31.45 we turned up. Boom, big move. Almost all the way up to 40, almost $48. So that's really what we're looking for, is that daily to turn up, and then they have to fight it at that point, use a bunch of money. That's not happening right now. So the 30-minute is not able to cross yet for AMC or GME, right? GME starting to look like it might cross down, but still up, still good. Go to Colorado to meet who? Been in Colorado plenty of times. Went to the Coors factory. Looks like the Wyckoff Spring. See, biotech, like these are ones that I would understand, because if you buy like 10 of them and then one of them pops, you make good money. But yikes, that's a rough one. But divergence is there, so this is when you want to pay attention. Like, they're like, no one ever knows when this stuff's gonna pop. Well, right here it had a good probability to, and it did. Right now you might have a good probability to if you can turn around. Oh, fly fishing? I've never been fly fishing. Oh, that's true. You said Wyckoff. I mean, I'm not seeing any kind of Wyckoff anywhere. Weekly divergence. Oh, sorry. Is that my sauce? My bad. Leftards. Yeah, I actually read an article from like some Colorado newspaper recently, and they were talking about like the downfall of Colorado, or like the downfall of Denver, I think is what it was called. Oh, PayPal, let's go, dude. PayPal I kind of liked, man. No 30-minute pullback just yet, but the 2-hour divergence is here really helping out. At a support level, that's very good. Multiple reasons to take the trade here. Looking pretty good. Is the daily able to turn up? Yes, it is. So that's good. Daily momentum getting with you. Cross above the 200. Even swing traders might be in that move. So PayPal looking decent. Looking decent. Maybe a 30-minute pullback, but overall on the daily scale, you got to say, hey, contrarian bullish signal. Still very negative. That's important to understand. Still very negative. So that could just curl up, curl right back down. Curl up, curl right back down. So pay attention to your risk a little bit, but looks pretty good. AMC going to the negative side. Ooh, gold. You looking pretty. Is that going to be some kind of double bottom here? Dadas. That's... I'm new. Good morning. Good morning, Neil. 3-month call play. I don't know from this area because you notice that the daily overbought again, making a divergence point on the RSI. You see it? You see the little divergence point? Now, it's not to say that has to confirm and go down, right? This could still be the opportunity for the upside. It could, but you're outside the Bollinger right now. It looks like you might need some kind of pullback. So what would I do? More so looking for a 2-hour to pull back down, just like last time. Just like last time. So as far as 3 months go, I don't know, because if that daily is going to turn over, that's not going to be a good sign. But we did pull back and then see that cross up, and we go up, right? So this was the trade we originally, showed people. These two trades right, or this trade right here. This was the trade we showed people. Once that curled up on the 2-hour, we said on Patreon, we posted and said, hey, manage your risk. And then look at that. If you're glad you manage your risk, you're glad you're part of the Patreon, you're glad you have those notifications on for Patreon, because if you didn't manage your risk right here, that's not good. So this play here, I took this play, played it a little bit down, okay, came down a little further, all right, now we rip back to the upside. Here you're ripping back to the upside again. So I'm just saying that because you're more so looking for that now again. You're looking for that to trail off, move sideways, then burst up, and then you'd say, okay, I got a good play for the next week. Yeah, so so overall, what you're looking for AMC now is you want to see the 2-hour, is that crossing? Because if the 2-hour is crossing, that means this is most likely going to pull back further. So it'll be interesting to see what happens by the end of the day. And I really want to go look at this again, actually. Let's look at costs again. Is that being fought yet? Okay, so it's being fought as of this moment. So this is kind of a distraction right now, I think, from AMC and GME, which is kind of a good thing. So overall, you just say if the 30-minute crosses down, then that's going to pull back. Oh, Chewy, yeah. We haven't looked at Chewy today. So Chewy, you have a rejection divergence right here. So Chewy, weirdly enough, this is kind of a bullish signal for a 2-hour to curl up. What's the 2-hour doing? Ooh, it's kind of close to that center line. So you could see a big move from Chewy if this 2-hour is able to cross up. And right now your 30-minute is saying, hell yeah, let's go. That's what this 30-minute is saying. Now it's saying that in a contrarian bullish signal, so you got to take it with a grain of salt. But if that thing can go positive here, that would be a good sign. Oh, gotcha, Polar Bear. My thoughts on Roaring Kitty, though, is if you're trading anything, don't trade based on what someone else is doing. If you're trading based on if you use what someone else is doing to trade something, that's fine, right? If you're like, oh, Roaring Kitty, he's made a lot of money in the stock market. He says to pay attention to GME and AMC. Perfect. He's telling you what stocks to, or he tells you to look at GME and Chewy. Okay, perfect. So pay attention to those stocks and look for the same things you would always look for, right? Look for the same things you would look for in other stocks. Right now, you see divergence on the RSI, on the MACD. Rejection, divergence. Awesome. Okay, that's rejecting. If that can go positive, you can see a big move. Now, why? Because the 30-minute divergences, they like to turn up these 2 hours. The last time that 2 hour turned up, what'd you see? A big move. Okay, so if this 2 hour turns up again, a big move. You see all the moving averages getting close together here. That's great. That says your pullback is good. Now you just need to get back above all of those. You're going to cross on that MACD if you get back above all those, and boom, you're off to the races again. So now you have to say, you still have to think about what's going on here. Is this stock suppressed, artificially suppressed? Well, then you would say, I got to make sure to pay attention anytime that 2 hour curls back down. Because if that curls back down, then the short sellers are winning and they're going to force the stock down. That's kind of what I'm saying with AMC right now, right? So if AMC curls down on a 2 hour, that means the short sellers are winning again, right? But if it can remain crossed up, GME just gave you a great signal on a 2 hour, which was a 2 hour divergence. Look at this thing, boom. And it's down here on the RSI, a little bit flat on the RSI, but this here is what you see before that daily turns up. So where is the daily right now? Well, the daily's at the center line, which tells me I pretty much have a 50-50 shot right now of that daily turning up. But because I saw that 2 hour signal, I know that the probabilities are a little bit better. No, I don't like extended trading hours, mainly from like a volume perspective. A lot of the volume moves in the other trading hours, but I will look at like this type of stuff. I'll look at futures markets and things like that in the overnight market to see 2 hour signals and things like that. So as of right now, you're making that 2 hour signal, but look at all the divergences you're seeing on the RSI right here. You're seeing a bunch of little divergences there. So right at the weekly expected move here. So that's something to pay attention to. Okay, US 100. All right, no real divergences, just kind of screaming higher, which just tells me like it just makes my BS meter kind of flash red for a second. It just makes me kind of like, all right, let me not get FOMO'd or anything like that. Let me just think about this from a common sense type of thing. Like, is the market, are things going on around the world that could really shake up the market? Yeah. Are there things going on with our election that could shake up the market? Yeah. Are there things going on in the market itself that could shake up the market? Well, AMC and GME, yeah. So I'm managing my risk by just not really doing much. That's the overall take that I have. I just don't really do much right now. And then we'll see what happens from there. Well, I mean, this is technical analysis. You're using the indicators. It's using the momentum as the analysis, right? So overall, what you would say is we look for levels of liquidity and things like that as well. So the technical analysis side of things is our bigger overall trends. The reason we're not doing overall trends right now is because every single trend just keeps getting broken to the upside. Nike, big drop. So a lot of the time now the direction has been chosen, and earnings were a big deal there, right? 50-50 flip. So the thing about this one here is I'd really like to see some kind of movement sideways, see that 2 hour get close to the center line, right? And then curl back down, treat it like a swing trade. The direction's kind of been chosen. Is there any hope that the market will pull back? Well, there is, just because the SPY is outside of its weekly. If the SPY's outside of its weekly expected move, you still have that 68% chance. Now, you are heading into Friday, right? Today is the last trading day of the week, so you can see this close outside of that towards the end of the week. But as of right now, you would say the Q's hitting upside moves, hitting daily moves, hitting outside of the weekly move. So something is going on here that's pretty fishy. And I just really am skeptical of all of it. So sitting on my hands looks like the best option at this point, just holding AMC and GME. Even though right here, I was really tempted to do like a day trade, take calls for a couple of days or like a day or so. Should have done it. God. 30% profit, not bad. Tesla, what do we notice from this guy? Well, still holding at higher levels. Amazon, a little bit of weakness coming in, so paying attention to the 30-minute here, you now have a triple divergence. Sure, you can call that cup and handle at this point, but triple divergence by the weekly expected move. So pretty much you're at a time where it's like either extreme weakness is going to come in or we're just going to see something crazy. I'll draw stuff every once in a while. It's just everything that I've drawn is getting ruined, right? Every single time that I draw some kind of wedge or something like that, it just gets ruined. Look at even the macro scale trend here. Yeah, you want to say, is this a blow off to the upside? Yes, it is, because look at that right there. Okay, you're going above the overall macro trend right now. And you went above it, you dip back in it, and then you cross right back up. And this is where we caught that rigged move. So, as of right now, I just don't like drawing too much because I don't want to have something that convinces me of something breaking, right? So I do have my overall trend line and things like that that could cause some weakness, but overall, it's like if I draw a wedge here, I might convince myself that this is wedging, and really it just keeps breaking up to the upside. So I just don't think that creating that type of stuff is the most helpful tool. That's why you're not seeing me draw stuff out as much. So if you look back, back when, if you just look at like my Apple stock or something like that, there's a ton of stuff going on here. So this is more so when we do that type of stuff, we talk about the zones and things like that. But it's just in this environment, is there anything here that like makes any kind of sense? Like maybe you could take this and draw a trend up like this. But other than that, it's like, if you equal that out and say, oh, it's in a channel or something like that, well, maybe the channel's right here. Well, we're kind of violating that channel a few times. So this is an extreme time where drawing things out is not necessarily the most helpful, in my opinion. Reese, maybe you have different drawings that are a little bit different than mine, but I just don't think drawing anything has been very helpful in the market just yet for a while now. Dollar still dropping off now, so we know this move is pretty real. But look at that volatility. Sneaky, but volatility is trying to scale up here. Once again, it's like every weekend towards a Friday, the signals look like, oh, I got to be a little worried over the weekend, maybe except for AMD, right? Because AMD, most likely, if it holds this bar, it's going to hit a topside weekly expected move next week. And like the technical analysis as well that we do, that's a little bit different, is the weekly expected moves, daily expected moves, things like that. That is a technical side thing that a lot of people don't pay attention to. It's a data tool. It is an indicator most people don't pay attention to, and it's probably the most important one. Double top on the S&P. You could create that divergence right now. I think that does have a likelihood, but I just think you're too far away from the center line to see like a dramatic move, like breaking this trend. I would say that the most likely place to end up for some kind of bounce is this little zone here. We retest the breakout area like we did here. Okay, now we come back, we do that again, like that. I think that would be likely. Ooh, good curl up on the daily. Confirmed above the 200 right here. Big move right after. Looks pretty solid. Is there a pullback happening? Is that what's going on? Yeah, it looks like 30-minute needs a pullback for another move higher. Does the 2-hour need a pullback? 2-hour needs a pullback, but it's very close. So that'll be interesting, but good breakout to the upside above all the moving averages. I think this 2-hour might not even pull back. You might just see a 30-minute pullback. Yeah, AMD breaking out. It looks like Nvidia starting to turn back up, so that's a good sign. See if that daily is able to fully cross. You're still above the center line for the RSI, and you got the swing trade signal right there. So like something you can look for too, swing traders like to use 4 hours. So the 4-hour confirming that signal in that bar too. So you can see some positivity from it. See, that's what's crazy to me. It's like there's going to be positivity from the AI stocks at a time where the SPY is breaking out and just smashing new all-time highs. Big screen today. Yeah, you don't have to see downside moves for volatility, but it is telling you volatility is there, so you could see a little bit bigger swing, but it's nothing crazy. It's at 1233. So you really more so would like to pay attention to this. Once it gets above 20, that's where, like, if you take my course and use that strategy, oh my god, you will kill it. If we're able to hold volatility above 20, you will literally just kill it. Daily swing trade proving itself for TLT here, which means those yields might have to drop dramatically. That'd be interesting. Let's go check on our boys over here. Kind of a flag, isn't it? Yeah, kind of flagging here. Good little double bottom on the 5-minute, but it didn't really prove to be much. 15-minute divergence maybe first. Yeah, it's nuts, Tony. It's friggin' nuts. Bitcoin's starting to bounce back as well. I like it more on a 2-hour. 2-hour crosses up. Like I said, you can get the big 2-hour pullback now. Palantir, solid, almost 5% move. I didn't even see that. I think we looked at it multiple times. I just didn't notice, like, oh my god, that's a pretty good move. As of right now, 2 hours saying pullback. 2 hours saying pullback right now. Now this has an hour and 50 minutes left in the bar. We did have a good Independence Day. She kind of like took a nap and then woke up and was around 50 people, so she was a little bit freaked out, but overall it was good. It's just funny. She's so used to her environment here at the house. She's so used to her routine that if we take her out of that routine, she's like, no, I don't like it. But it was funny because it was like, she didn't want to really, she was just taking everything in, didn't really want to interact with anyone at the place. And then she gets home and she's like the happiest baby. So it's just, maybe we got to take her out more around a bunch of people. This one here, the 30-minute not curling down. Interesting. GME. Interesting. Oh, god dang it, Polar Bear. I hate you so much for going to the lake without me. It's fudged up, man. God, I just want to like sit on a boat and just freaking, what's it called, troll fish. Like, that's all I want to do. I just want to sit there with like a bucket of beer and some shitty sandwiches and just watch a line and just kind of drift forward. Babbel would like to sponsor you. I'm good. While I fried up, I'm down. Oh god. I need to we need to go to the beach once this kid's big enough. Kansas, we're on just all land all the time. Thankfully, pool's fixed, so Micah's swimming this weekend. Like, look at these looks on the 30-minute here. Apple, crazy. Tesla, crazy. Amazon, divergence, but crazy. Nvidia, well, not the craziest, but higher low. Okay. AMD, crazy. Meta, crazy. Hey, Meta actually hit a trend line. See, there you go. There you go. Meta actually hitting a macro trend line. That's good, but you could cup and handle from this area still, like this little build up into the handle. We'll see, but you got divergence now, so pretty much triple divergence. What's 30A? I gotta know. 30A. New here. What's up, William? Hey, that's all right, William. We like newbies. We like new people. Is Intel still going? Most exclusive fam beach spot. Ooh. You dog. All right, getting above all the moving averages. Great look. It's a great look. And the weekly's about to cross up. That would be your signal. Like the daily's momentum's about to take over a little bit. See how that's going positive too? God, that's so perfect. Okay, this is like perfect. You're closing above all the moving averages and you're going positive. That's a very good look. But I don't know why. Just my BS meter has just been going off like crazy. Alrighty, let's look through some stuff here, and then I might go spend some time with the fam. Right now, AMC, 30-minute pullback. We'll do AMC and GME first. Right now, AMC, 30-minute pullback. This is very important to understand. You need 30-minute momentum with you, and the main thing is you need daily momentum with you, okay? You need daily momentum to turn up. Right now, it looks like, hey, we could fall all the way back down to 437 if we want to. We could retest that 50. We could retest the 20. We could retest the 9, anything like that. Right now, 30-minute, most important. If that turns up by the end of the day, hey, you could see something crazy by next week. Now, if we look over to GME, we notice the 30-minute has not curled down yet. It's just really running into that resistance that we found. 24.56 was our level to pay attention to. We just can't seem to get a firm closing above that. The 2 hours turned up with that divergence. That's great, but you still need the daily to turn up, and then we'll give you the next week's range, okay? We'll give you the top side range on Sunday. That way you know how high up you need to go in order to see some kind of squeeze, all right? And then after that, what do we want to look for? Well, let's look at the regular market. Well, the regular market is just going higher and higher, creating a point of divergence right here. So we're going to watch this. I'm going to watch this throughout the day. If something crazy starts to happen, I'll hop back on live. So make sure you have those notifications on. Right now, what do we notice? 30-minute, just curling up, curling up, curling up, going, right? Very, very bullish. So you can't really be negative about this. You just have to be weary of something crazy happening in the market because, you know, it just causes my BS meter to go off a lot when I see something like this. So, but the dollar isn't dropping off. We're not, or the dollar isn't pumping up or anything like that. This move seems real at this moment. What I'd really like is just as a trader, it's very hard to chase into a move like this, right? Like, look at this move. That's just an algorithmic move there. So what do we want to see? I'd really like to see that base out sometime next week, curl back up, go positive, right? Then it would be a reason to take the trade, kind of like right over here. Right here on the MACD, right here on the RSI. Everything lined up very, very well. Okay, so that's what we're overall looking for. We're heading up towards that daily expected move, which means probably the keys are getting outside the daily. They are. Yeah, so all I do is technicals. I don't really pay too much attention to fundamentals. I mean, I do based on rocks in my stream, but mainly I'm just looking for what momentum is No, fundamentals. I was a fundamental trader and it fucked me over. I'm just going to be totally honest. I was a fundamental trader when I was younger, and because everyone said that's what you're supposed to do, and it's like the total opposite is what it is. It's like you see a news story for something, it comes out after you see a 30-minute divergence, right? So I started to do technicals and I started to catch moves a little bit better. So now, when you're doing technicals, though, you have to be willing to be wrong. You have to be willing to also flip. You have to be very adaptable. Right here, you might have said, oh, we're going negative and this is crashing down. Curls up, goes positive. You have to flip immediately, right, if you're going to be doing technicals for your trading. As of right now, we're getting excited again to the upside. So you have a 68% chance to land down here. You actually have a 68% chance to land down here. Now, do I think that's likely in this area? Not necessarily. But I'm just saying as a trader, you would like to see this curl down just like we did right here, curl down, curl back up. That would tell you, okay, there's another move left in this overall stock that we're looking at, the ETF. Apple, same thing, right? We're really just looking at the same thing across the board. We're just seeing major positivity. Tesla, same thing, right? Still looking for an actual opportunity to take the trade. It's a very bullish move. Can't really talk negatively about it. Now, Amazon's starting to show you that weakness in momentum. So this is kind of a point for Amazon. Are you going to break through and see something crazy like every other stock? Or are we actually going to behave how momentum is supposed to, which is this needs to get some kind of bigger pullback on the 2-hour scale. 2-hour pullback would make sense. You have divergence here. So an overall bigger pullback for Amazon would make more sense over time. All right, just want you to pay attention to that. Pay attention to your signals. As far as right now goes, Nvidia looking pretty damn positive, closing above that level we were talking about. So this is a bullish thing. Now there will be pullbacks, 30-minute. Maybe we see some kind of further pullback. As of right now, you're getting a pullback with time. Maybe that wants to cross up one more time. AMD, this one has daily momentum behind it now. That's why you're seeing the big upside. Daily momentum is not something to mess around with. That's why we're talking about it with AMC and GME. All right, daily momentum is very important. So what happened with AMD? Well, it saw that daily momentum cross up right here, and then it said, hey, positivity's here, and positivity came. So there you go, positive territory, kind of a bullish contrarian signal here, very close to the center line, went positive the next day. Boom, to the upside. Great move there from AMD going forward. So what are you still looking for here? Still a 30-minute pullback. Like everything is like, hey, I need a 30-minute pullback to take a trade. Need a 30-minute pullback to take a trade on Meta. Microsoft need a 30-minute pullback to take a trade. Google need a 30-minute pullback. It's just you're seeing rapid moves up, which is kind of sketchy to me. Netflix even, you're seeing need a 30-minute pullback to take a trade. So really that's the overall sentiment across the whole thing is 30 minutes are starting to pull back while volatility gapping up just a little bit here, spiking down, but positive right now. So here is the signal to really pay attention to. You have a 2-hour that has crossed up, gave you that signal. Now the daily side as well could curl up with divergence. And this is why you really have to pay attention to your risk over the weekend, because if this thing turns up on Monday, that thing might just explode, and we'll see what happens with it, right? You still want to pay attention to your signals. I'm just saying that as a scenario. I'm not necessarily saying, oh, that has to happen. I'm just saying this is something to be very aware of, and this is a type of signal you see before something bad happens, okay? Before something bad happens, and that's important to understand. It's just paying attention to a signal before something bad happens, and that's the overall gig here. So we see spikes in volatility once we get close to that center line. We get close to the center line right here, we go positive, spike in volatility right here, we go positive right here, spike in volatility above 20 there. Now we see right here, what do? We cross up, we go positive a few bars later, boom right here. Okay, off to the races for volatility. So not expecting this to be a straight downward, straight upward, but right now it's straight upward. Volatility not necessarily saying the same thing. So overall, guys, thank you guys so much for watching today. I really do appreciate it. I'm going to go spend some time with the family, maybe go to the pool. We got a new floaty, so I'm very excited, right? So for now, I might leave you guys over on AMC for the moment, just making sure to pay attention to if that 30-minute is able to cross up or if that thing is going to cross back down. I think that's the most important thing to see from these stocks. And then GME, the same thing would be if that 30-minute crosses down, that means 30-minute pullback. So we'll have to see what happens here. Wait for that daily momentum to take over. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for liking, subscribing. Make sure if you want to learn some of this stuff over the weekend, that course is only $100. The price is going up on Sunday. After Sunday, probably Monday morning, we're going to send that thing up. Sometimes I like to leave it at $100 for the Monday live stream when we end a sale on a weekend. So we might leave it for Monday morning, and then after Monday morning, I'll change it right away. So just look into getting that over the weekend if you want to dedicate yourself to some learning. I don't think that learning should be super expensive. I want anyone out there to be able to learn this type of stuff, and I think it would be pretty good. Caught major amounts of when it reaches there. Yeah, if it goes down to 437 again, I might have a buy order ready. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys had a great time, and I will see you guys later if something crazy happens. If not, look forward to that Saturday video and dedicate yourself to some learning. Look at that link in the description. Thank you guys. Have a good one. Peace.